Good morning, students. You all would have understood that the Maharashtra State Board has reduced a little bit of portion for history, and fortunately or unfortunately, we have already completed the fourth chapter in detail with 2 Google Forms related to it. But since that particular lesson is deleted, the Google Forms which you have submitted as assignments will not be now considered. Instead, the audio clip which I have asked for related to the first chapter in political science, that is working of the constitution, that you will have to send it to me for marks. And only 25 to 30 students have responded and they have sent me the audio clips and I've already given them the marks. Those students who have not recorded the answers will watch the video of part 1 working of the constitution which I have put up last week and record the answers on an audio clip and send it to me as early as possible. By Tuesday, everyone's audio clip should reach me, and if you don't do so, you will be considered as absent for that particular assignment and I will not be giving you any marks for it. The Google Forms for Indian Arts, History of Indian Arts, chapter 4 of chapter 4, marks will now not be included because that chapter is deleted from the SSC board portion for this year. So chapter 4 and chapter 6 of history is deleted and the rest of the syllabus stands as it is and you will have to complete it with the extra questions which I am giving you from time to time. Today let us continue with our portion and we will continue with the political science chapter, and this particular chapter we have learned what is constitution and what is the role played by the Constitution of India in making democracy more successful in India. We discussed the points that the voting age has been reduced from 21 to 18 and also various provisions have been made in the Constitution in order to make the working of democracy more successful in India. Today, we will be continuing with the same chapter and here we are going to deal with social justice and equality. Today we continue with this lesson, children. Social justice and equality. Social justice and equality are the two important objectives of our constitution. Our idea or aim is to try and achieve all these objectives. Fraternity, equality, justice, secularism, socialism, all these are various objectives that have been put up in the Constitution of India. Now, social justice means in the society, justice has to be given to all the groups, every community, and equality is samanta. Okay. Social justice and equality are two important objectives and the constitution has given different guidelines to establish a new society based on these two values. When we became independent, before independence, we were under foreign rule. Social justice and equality was denied to the people of India. And therefore, when the constitution was made, this became two important objectives. And what are we going to do in order to achieve these two goals that have been laid down by our constitution? Let us come to what is social justice. Social justice is a view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. We know that untouchability prevailed in India. Harijans, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, they were all treated very badly. A major section of the society, including these people who belong to this lower caste, as well as women in the society, the so-called poor people who are economically not very not economically not very rich, okay, they were not given rights. Might was right at that time. People who were rich were given more all the rights. Their importance to the society depended on their status, and so therefore in our country, the constitution, in the constitution, it was decided that everyone, each one, irrespective of his caste, creed, gender, okay, community, they all should be considered equal. We have to build up a society where there is economic, political, and social rights and opportunities are given to everybody. Everyone gets a chance or an opportunity to develop. Now, how do we establish this social justice? What can we do in order to establish social justice? To establish social justice, first of all, we have to remove those conditions which are responsible for injustice. अगर justice लाना है तो injustice को पहले खत्म करना पड़ेगा. And therefore, insist on equality of dignity of all individuals. To put an end to all kind of discrimination, okay, the people who are there considered in the society as superior, inferior on the basis of caste, religion, dharm के नाम पर, जात के नाम पर, language के नाम पर, स्त्री पुरुष भिन्नता जो थी, that is the status given to the woman was considered, was comparatively very low. Then coming to the place of birth, race, property, all this, or based on all this, there was a lot of discrimination. People were ill-treated children, and many of them were ill-treated. So the idea that was that if we have to establish social justice, we must put an end to all this kind of discrimination. To make an effort to establish justice and equality at all levels. This was the aim or the objective mentioned in our constitution. To establish social justice, we must put an end to injustice. Now, what are the efforts made in India in this direction? How to put an end to the social injustice? First of all, when the constitution was being made, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee, and the policy of reservation of seats was given importance. Arakshan, reservation is Arakshan. Why reservation? In our society, the so-called Harijans, Shudras, untouchable, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes were exploited since ancient times under the pretext of religious practices. Equal opportunities नहीं दिए गए उन लोगों को. Okay, they were not given equal opportunities. If they were supposed to select their professions on the basis of their birth, they were not allowed to select. In fact, they were forced to take up the profession of their father, grandfather. Potter's son would become potter, weaver's son would become weaver. Okay, and the so-called untouchables, Shudras, they were forced to do all sorts of menial jobs, the low category jobs like cleaning the gutters, removing the dead body. Okay, these kind of, working in crematorium, all these sorts of odd jobs, cleaning jobs were given to them. Okay, low category jobs were given to them. They were not allowed to enter temples, draw water from public wells, get education. So you know that basic dignity which an individual should get as a human being, that also they were not given. To help the lower section of society to get their rights and live with dignity, okay, the policy of reservation of seats was introduced when the constitution was prepared. So how do you have this policy of reservation of seats? The policy of reservation of seats is applied in educational institutions and in government services. Okay. Now, all those people who are there, some percentage of seats are reserved in educational institutions. If medical colleges, then in STSE students are given some kind of concessions, no fees is charged. Even if there is a entrance fee for certain exams, they have to pay the minimum amount, okay, not even half of it. So therefore, and the books, midday meals are given, books are distributed. Okay, so all these extra provisions are there in the educational institutions for the benefit of the so-called economically backward. जिसके पास पैसा नहीं हो, जो अच्छी पढ़ाई करना चाहता है, उसको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी देने के लिए ये सब इंस्टीट्यूशन में, मीन्स गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल्स आर देयर वेयर फीस इज नॉट चार्ज्ड. Okay, for example, our school also comes under government aided school. So in educational institutions, chance is given. Some seats are reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. If you have a caste certificate children, then those who belong to this particular caste, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they they can avail, or they can get all these facilities and concessions which are provided by the government of India in order to help their communities to improve their situation and come up in life. For a long period of time, they had to face injustice, not allowed to enter temples, not they could not get it, forefathers could not get any education. But now this policy of provision for reservation of seats, especially for backward classes, okay, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe has played a very vital role in helping their community to come up in life. So we want to build up a better society. The aim of the constitution is to build up a better society, a good society where equal opportunities will be given to everybody. Only then democracy will be successful, children. And so therefore, another important thing that has been done is, along with the concessions and the reservation policy for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, there are several laws which are prepared. Okay. For example, Prevention of Atrocities, Scheduled Castes and Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act. Now, what is atrocity? Atyachar. Right from the beginning, on the base of caste, a lot of injustice was done to the people, okay, of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. They were beaten, and they were paraded naked. They were they were exploited in every possible manner, and mainly because of the lack of education and lack of good leaders, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes suffered a lot, children. So now, in order to legally protect them and provide them with all the opportunities and to establish social justice, a law or an act has been passed. It says that if anyone commits any kind of atrocity or atyachar against the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they are punished by law. Let's continue. Here you have the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocity Act 1989. There are lots of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people living in the so-called hilly areas, children. And now with the government providing all kinds of facilities, medical aid, schools are established, connectivity between the tribal area and the cities or the towns have improved. So these people are also coming up in life. Everyone who's an Indian, whether he's living in urban area or he's living in the jungles in India, should get an opportunity to develop. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They should also know that they have a right or a say in the government. So improving the conditions, living conditions of these people, again, is very important for the success of democracy. So Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocity Act has been passed, okay, in 1989. Now, what does this act say, children? Okay, STSC Act, Anuchit Jati, Anusuchit Jati and or Anusuchit Janajati Atyachar Nivaran Adhiniyam 1989. This has been passed, and this has to a great extent helped them in um, improving their condition. So people are afraid. Even now, untouchability is practiced in several parts in India. The so-called high caste people still exploit them, and jati system is still there in different parts. But still, it is under control because nobody crosses a certain limit, as they know that if they do so, they are punished by the Indian law. Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocity Act was amended, or a few changes were made in 2015 again. And the new offenses, what are the new points which are covered under this act? If anyone tries to shave off the tonsuring, that is shaving of the head and mustache, in order to take revenge or in order to punish a particular scheduled caste, scheduled tribe person, this is done, or garlanding the ST or SC with chappals, or denying or not giving them the right to draw water from the well, or use the material from the forest, or compelling them to do any kind of manual scavenging. That means asking them to clean dirty places, or removing the dead bodies, etc., or imposing social or economic boycott, that is bahishkar karna एक particular समाज से, ये सब नहीं कर सकते. So preventing them from filing nominations, if they want to stand for elections as a candidate, they can do so. Nobody can prevent them from doing so. So therefore, all these are the new points which are included, And this act has been amended or modified a little bit, or changes have been brought about in the 1989 act, and new act has been passed in 2015. Why should the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe be given equal opportunities, children? Because they are all a part of Indian democracy. When we claim that India is the largest democracy in the world, it becomes our rights to protect everyone's freedom, give them liberty, equality, spread fraternity, okay, and provide them with justice, okay, give them justice. So along with scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, we in India also have the problems related to minorities. जैसे शेड्यूल कास्ट शेड्यूल ट्राइब को अपना राइट्स नहीं मिलता है, उसी तरह से इंडिया में बहुत सारे धर्म के लोग रहते हैं. Now, the people who belong to the Hindu religion are in majority, but there are people who practice other religions, like there are Christians, Muslims, Parsis, Jews. All these people, धर्म के नाम पर बहुत सारे ऐसे भिन्न धर्म के लोग यहाँ रहते हैं, but they should feel secure and safe in India. And therefore, Indian Constitution has made several provisions for protection of minorities, not only on the basis of community, but on the basis of religion. Again, there are provisions made so that religious minorities are protected. Okay. The government has adopted several policies for minorities to provide them opportunities for education and employment. So again, when you belong to a certain religion, like uh, if you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Parsi or a Jew, there are opportunities for education. Reservation is there even for the minorities. And the Indian Constitution prohibits or does not allow any kind of discrimination. You should not discriminate against them. Okay, discriminate, a word will be should not try and show them another, give them another kind of treatment. Okay, that means not treating them properly is discriminating against them on the basis of caste, religion, race, language, and region. This covers minorities. This covers minorities' right to equality. Everyone is considered to be equal. No discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, language, race, and region. Everyone has freedom. No one, no one should be exploited. So, right against exploitation, and cultural and educational rights. If I am a Maharashtrian, I have the right to protect the Maharashtrian culture, the Marathi language. Okay, so there are schools. I can start a school where Marathi medium, the Maharashtrian community can come and enroll. Marathi is made compulsory. Okay, then festivals related to the Maharashtrian community, they are celebrated. So all this, the leaders from Maharashtra, they are the history of them, history, and then the culture, traditions, dance forms, everything I want to pass down to the next generation. So that becomes my cultural right. Okay, so how do we generally, cultural and educational rights are interrelated? Why? Because when you, in the through the syllabus, what is put up in the educational institution, स्कूल में उन लोगों को पढ़ाया जाता है कि नाग पंचमी के दिन क्या है, वट पूर्णिमा क्या है, ओके, एंड दिवाली का फेस्टिवल क्यों सेलिब्रेट किया गया है, शिवाजी का बर्थ कभी हुआ, उनके लाइफ में रिलेटेड जो इम्पोर्टेंट डेट्स है वो सेलिब्रेट करना. ओके, पोवाड़ा गाना, या फिर लावनी का प्रोग्राम्स ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं, या फिर कोली डांस, ये सब उनके कल्चर का एक पार्ट है. And that comes up through education. It is passed down through the next generation. So everyone has a right to, every community, हर religious community के लोगों को अपना अपना culture, अपना अपना धार्मिक जो बातें हैं, और अपना culture means includes everything: dress, food, dance, art, architecture, everything gets included in the word culture. उसे pass down करने का अधिकार उनको दिया गया है. Indian Constitution gives them this right. Along with scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, another section of the population which has to fight for its equal rights is women in India. When you're talking about equality, who are the people who suffered the most? Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, backward caste, okay, minorities, and lastly the women in India. Okay, women in India have always been given a subordinate position only next to men in India, and there were several laws which were passed related to women, and provisions were made for their representation. empowering women. All of you have heard this word empowering. Empowering someone means making someone more powerful. How do you make someone more powerful? Not by giving them swords and guns in their hand, but how do you make them more powerful? Women are made more powerful by educating them, by making them aware of the various concessions that are given to them by the government, by making them, what to say, confident about taking decisions in their own lives. That is empowering women. And taking into consideration the various problems faced by women, our social reformers worked for this only, children. And after we became independent, we decided that we are going to really do something for uplifting the women in the society as they form a large section of the population in India. I hope all of you have understood till here. We started with the lesson, we started the lesson with social justice and equality. To whom to give social justice? What is social justice? Giving opportunities, creating opportunities for development, okay, and treating everybody equal. That comes under social justice. And which are the two groups whom we have considered till now? Provisions have been made for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, laws that have been passed, that is the Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act that was passed in 1989, and the amendment or the changes that were made in the same act related and was passed in related to that particular uh, um, matter, and the act it was amended and new points were included in it in 2015. Then we also saw that there have been several provisions made for minorities in India: freedom, right against exploitation, right to education, cultural rights. Let's talk about what efforts have been made to empower women. Considering the problems faced by women, what are the problems faced by women? The first one is illiteracy. Okay, women were not given the right to education. Okay, girls' education was denied to them. Education was denied to the girls in India. Then you had right to property was not there. Then many of them were, that is female infanticide, that is they were, it was a girl child, it was killed, right, uh, uh, even before it was born. Okay, even before the girl was born. So all this, considering all this, the problems faced by women, the government of India has adopted several policies at national and international level to solve the problems related to women. What has been done? First one, remove illiteracy among women to make equal opportunities for their development. Once they're educated, they should have enough opportunities for their development. Then right to have an equal share in the property of father and husband. Many times people live in joint family. After the husband passes away, the other family members don't consider the widow and her children, and so therefore they are left to fend for themselves, and they really suffer after the death of the woman, and the children suffer after the death of the husband, death of the father. Its children suffer and the lady suffers because her husband has died. So therefore, equal share in the property of father and husband. Dowry prohibition, hunda. Dowry is called as hunda. Dowry Prohibition Act. People didn't want to have girls because they had to spend a lot on their marriage and give a very, very huge sum as dowry. Okay, so Dowry Prohibition Act. Act Against Sexual Harassment and Domestic Violence Prohibition Act. Let us take up all of these in detail. Okay, how can women, how are women given the right to education? How to build up a very favorable um, environment for women? Okay, what can be done? Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, Dahej Pratishedh Adhiniyam, it is called. Okay, so during the marriage, a lot of people ask for gadi do, bangla do, ye do, wo do. Okay, so many of them ask for it. That is the groom's family. It is as if the boy is getting sold in the market, and a lot of materials are asked from the girl's father. and many times the girl's father and the girl's family, they have to take loans in order to conduct the marriage in a what to say, luxurious manner, that is in a very high-fi show, putting up a grand show, and then later on the entire family suffers because it is under debt. Okay, बहुत ज्यादा कर्जा ले लेते हैं शादी धूमधाम से मनाने के लिए. So dowry prohibition act, even after dowry is taken, people who are greedy, they're not satisfied, and many times it goes to the extent of killing that particular girl and getting married once more. Okay, so they take away all the gold and property and the things that have been given by the father to the girl, and then later on many times the girl gets killed also. So therefore the dowry prohibition act is to protect the rights of the woman. Okay, anyone who asks for dowry is punishable by law in India. Okay, another one is sexual harassment of women at workplace, 2013. In order to protect the rights of women, sexual harassment, physically abusing any particular girl, okay, and trying to verbally or non-verbally abuse that particular girl, that again is prohibited under law. It is punishable under law. Again, in case of when it comes to women do a lot of work in the house, but yet many a time she is subjected to domestic violence. मारपीट करता है ससुर जी, उसके हस्बैंड, उसके बच्चे खुद. कभी कभी जब लेडी समटाइम्स माँ बहुत बूढ़ी हो जाती है, एंड बट व्हाट डू पीपल डू, दे अब्यूज देम बाय हिटिंग देम. So therefore, this acts of domestic violence, if somebody is beaten up, they can always go to the police station to complain, and where, how will their complaint be registered under this acts of domestic violence? Identifying the acts of domestic violence, somebody beating, slapping, hitting, kicking, punching, pushing, okay, and causing any kind of body pain or injury will come under acts of domestic violence. So to protect the condition of women, to empower women, and to make their um, to make them more say comfortable in living in India, and to what to say, to compensate rather for all the what to say injustice that they have faced in India since a long period of time, suppression that they have faced in India. Government of India in its constitution has made several provisions in order to protect women. Okay, women have been represented in politics. Women, there is not a single field where women are lagging behind now. Children, many countries in the world have made efforts to increase representation of women. Okay, in India, 73rd and 74th Amendment, 33% of the seats are reserved for women in local self-governing institutions. Zilla Parishad, municipality, municipal corporation, local self-government में 33% of the seats are reserved for women. And it's a really very good thing that in India, in Maharashtra, this percentage has been raised to 50%. Okay, women reservation bill was passed in or constitution 108th amendment bill was passed in 2008 in the parliament, and 33% of the seats in the lower house of the parliament, that is the Lok Sabha, and in the state assemblies are reserved for women. And in India, Maharashtra, the percentage has increased to the percentage has increased to 50%. Okay, now let's come to okay, here you have here you have a graph, and in that graph we have the percentage of women sarpanch as of 2017. Okay, now this has actually changed, and now it is to 2020 now. But in 2017, if you consider the total number of sarpanch in the gram panchayat, you'll find that Uttar Pradesh has got around 19,992 sarpanch, which is 34% of the total local self government um, authorities, officials. They are women when it comes to sarpanch. 34% of them are women. In Maharashtra is second, and 13,960 sarpanch of the various villages, they are all women. So in uh, what to say, state wise, you have the different in different states of India, how women are given the opportunity. The seat of a sarpanch is reserved for a woman through rotation method. That is, every few years, it's a woman definitely who should be a sarpanch. A man cannot occupy that particular seat, and that gives women a chance to hold some important, what to say, office, hold some important post and bring about. Why is it important to have that particular authority? So that you can bring about changes. Women understand the problems related to women, and therefore they can bring about several changes. They can introduce several policies. They can recommend these policies to the government of India. Women participation has increased in reservative institutions. Okay, women should get more chance in order to make decisions, and they can provide direction in politics. For this purpose, women's participation has increased in various representative institutions. Now we have one table, children. 1951-52, 22 MPs were women, and the percentage of the representation in the Indian Parliament was just 4.50%. 1957, again it was 22. In the next election, it was 31 MPs were women and 6.28 percentage of the total number of MPs, members of parliament. Slowly, when it comes to the number, you will find that from 22, again 31, 28, 29, every election, the total number of women MPs have gone up. And in 2014, 66 MPs were women, and they formed about 12.15% of the total members in the parliament. At 14%, the 17th Lok Sabha elections in 2019, Lok Sabha has the highest number of women MPs, children. 78 women members of parliament. It is highest since independence, and that too, when it comes to the world, it is the highest number of MPs. Okay, Parliament this time has a 300 first-time MPs and 197 MPs who have been re-elected for the second consecutive term. And out of this total number of members of Parliament, okay, 78 members are women members, very strong, many of them very capable, holding high. They are highly educated, and they have been given portfolios which are very significant and important. Okay, we have we have the picture or the image of some of the MPs. Okay, all of them rather. Okay, here you have one which we can very easily identify is Smriti Irani here. So she's been working a lot in whichever portfolio has been given to her, and a lot of them. Okay, and these women have played a very vital role in passing several reforms and bringing about several changes. Maharashtra has sent 8 women MPs to the Lok Sabha during the 2019 election, and in assembly elections, 16 women candidates have won the elections in Maharashtra. BJP leads the pack with 10 victorious women candidates, and Congress has 5 women nominees who have been elected during the recent state elections. Role played by the judiciary. What role can the judiciary play in order to um, make democracy successful and strengthen democracy in India? If you have the objective of social justice and equality, laws can be prepared, execution can be done, but who will see to it that these rules and regulations are actually implemented properly? वो सब पेपर में बना के रख दिया और उसके बाद उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया, तो वुमेन का पोजीशन, माइनॉरिटी लोगों का पोजीशन, शेड्यूल ट्राइब का जो इल ट्रीटमेंट है, हैरेसमेंट है, वो तो वैसे ही कंटिन्यू हो जाएगा. लेकिन जुडिशरी उसके लिए एक इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है. व्हाट इज द रोल प्लेड बाय जुडिशरी इन इम्प्लीमेंटिंग द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो रूल्स है और जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स दिए गए हैं, जो रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी, ये सब बराबर से फॉलो होता है कि नहीं, ये देखने का काम किसका है? जुडिशरी का. ओके, सो द जुडिशरी हैज passed several रूल्स रेगुलेशंस, एंड जहां जहां जब जब इम्पोर्टेंट केसेस आता है तो the judiciary has played a very vital role. What is the first thing, what is the first connection between the judiciary and the basic framework of the Constitution of India? Indian Constitution is dynamic. एक बार बनाया तो उसको ऐसे ही नहीं रखा है. इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो लिविंग डॉक्यूमेंट है. उसमें हर बार जरूरत के हिसाब से, जैसे जैसे सोसाइटी चेंज हो रहा है, उस वैसे वैसे पार्लियामेंट उसमें चेंजेस लेकर आ रहे हैं. सो चेंजेस हैव बीन मेड इन द, there have been a lot of changes made in the constitution, which is called amendment of the constitution. Okay, but judiciary has the power to see to it that the parliament makes these changes in the constitution, but at the same time there is a limitation to this power. While amending the constitution or while bringing about any changes in the constitution, the parliament cannot override or alter, उसको change नहीं कर सकता है. जो important points constitution में दिया गया है, like in republican and democratic form, जो provisions दिया गया है, जो तुमने last time audio clip में बताया है मुझे, okay, those provisions cannot be changed at all. Okay, unity and integrity of the nation, sovereignty of the nation, okay, republican and democratic form of government, secularism, all these जो basic structure है constitution का, उसमें कोई changes parliament नहीं लेके आ सकता है. चाहे वो बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट हो, कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट हो, या कोई अन्य कोई पार्टी का गवर्नमेंट हो, फिर भी अपना जो संविधान है उसमें changes, basic structure में कोई भी changes नहीं लेके आ सकता है. They can bring about some amendment for the sake of improvement, and uske liye parliament needs a majority. Okay, majority of them should support the decision, only then it can be done. Similarly, judiciary plays a very vital role. जब judgment दिया जाता है ऐसे cases में जहां पर rights of children involved हो, या human rights involved हो, या फिर dignity and honor of women is under question, कोई भी cases जो जज जो पर्टिकुलर कोर्ट में, हाई कोर्ट में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, ऐसे केसेस जब आते हैं जहां इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम, ट्राइबल का पावर्स, ओके, ऐसे जजमेंट इन्वॉल्व हो, ये सब जजमेंट जब वो देते हैं तो वो ये ध्यान में रखते हुए देते हैं कि वो जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो रूल्स रेगुलेशंस मेंशन किया गया है, जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स मेंशन किया है, उसको फॉलो किया गया है कि नहीं. ये काम कोर्ट का है. एंड इंडियन जुडिशरी, स्पेशली द कोर्ट एट ऑल द लेवल, सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, इन्होंने बहुत ऐसे अच्छी तरीके से इतने सारे जजमेंट्स दिए हैं कि दे प्रोटेक्ट द राइट्स एंड डिग्निटी ऑफ द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया. सो ऐसा ही नहीं है कि सब कुछ खाली पेपर में लिखा हुआ है, राइट फॉर माइनॉरिटीज, इक्वालिटी, जस्टिस, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, नहीं. When it comes to the places or cases where the rights of the women, individual, tribals, children are involved, judiciary has always played a vital role in passing the judgments so that these rights are protected. These efforts have made political process in India more mature. We come to the last point of this chapter, children. Democracy requires good governance. हम democracy को successful तब बना सकते हैं जब यहाँ पर good governance, governing institution, government अच्छा हो, government practice, governing practices अच्छा हो तो, और good features, the features of good governance. Good governance अच्छी तरीके से government चलाने के लिए क्या किन चीजों की जरूरत है? What should be done to bring good governance in democracy? First thing is accountable and responsible government. This is a concept map, children, and I have not put it in a circular form, but only listed it out. Responsible and accountable government. Responsible and accountable government बनाने के लिए हमने क्या पास किया है? Right to information, RTI, that has made the government more transparent and accountable. किसी भी ऑफिसर ने अगर कोई भी करप्ट प्रैक्टिस किया तो उससे हम दंड दे सकते हैं. क्या यूज करके? राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके. ओके, हमारे जो फंड्स जो दिए है, वो वेरियस पॉलिसीज के लिए जो फंड्स है वो कैसे यूज हुआ, ओके, उसको बराबर से यूज किया गया है कि नहीं किया है. 30 डेज के अंदर उस पर्टिकुलर ऑफिसर को ये बताना पड़ता है, नहीं तो उसे अपनी नौकरी से हाथ धोना पड़ता है. अकाउंटेबल एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबल गवर्नमेंट थ्रू RTI. ओके, इफेक्टिव एंड एफिशिएंट गवर्नमेंट, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बहुत अच्छी तरह से ग्रास रूट लेवल से, हर लेवल पे जो गवर्नमेंट है, हर लेवल पे जो नियम बनाने वाले हैं, जो लॉ मेकर्स है, एट द सेम टाइम जो इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए जो पुलिस फोर्स है, कोर्ट्स है, ऑल ऑफ देम they are more effective and efficient, and only when a government is effective and efficient, democracy can survive, children. Responsive government, ऐसा नहीं कि गवर्नमेंट ने एक बार रूल बना दिया तो अरे जाने दो, जो होगा सो देखा जाएगा. No. Responsive government is media today plays a very vital role. हर गवर्नमेंट का हर डिसीजन, हर पॉलिसी इतना डिबेट होता है, इतना ये होता है कि गवर्नमेंट हैज टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू पब्लिक ओपिनियन. पब्लिक क्या चाहता है वो उसको उसके उसके अनुसार गवर्नमेंट को गवर्नेंस करना पड़ता है, राज्य उसके हिसाब से चलाना पड़ता है. ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन वर्किंग ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. व्हाट इज ट्रांसपेरेंसी? ट्रांसपेरेंसी इज नो सीक्रेसी एट ऑल. ओपन. जो भी गवर्नमेंट में जो कुछ भी कार्य, अभी हमने अपने आर्मी के लिए बहुत सारे फाइटर प्लेन्स लिए, कितना पैसा दिया, कहाँ से लिया, कभी आ रहा है, कभी क्या क्या उसके फीचर्स है, इतना पैसा क्यों खर्चा किया. All this government has to tell to the public, children. So that means there is transparency. Nothing is hidden from the common man. The common man knows about everything, and just an all-inclusive development. The aim or the idea of having what to say, making all these rules, regulations, implementing them, okay, is that there should be justice and all inclusive development. हर तरह से economic, social, political, cultural development होना चाहिए. So that the aim of the constitution is, जब तुम preamble बोलते हो तो what do you say? To promote justice. I'll go to the that particular page in the textbook where you have the preamble, okay, to secure for all its citizens justice, equality, fraternity. This is our aim. So जब हर व्यक्ति, हर नागरिक, इंडियन नागरिक कहेगा कि नहीं, मेरे कंट्री में मेरा डेवलपमेंट और मेरा जो वोट है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, मैं जो बोलता हूँ वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, ओके, मेरे गवर्नमेंट हमारे से कुछ नहीं छुपाते. सो वी हैव अ प्रॉपर डेमोक्रेसी. 21 ईयर 18 ईयर्स का लड़का खड़े रहकर कह सकता है कि मेरा गवर्नमेंट जो है ट्रांसपेरेंट है, देयर इज नो सीक्रेसी, गवर्नमेंट इज अकाउंटेबल, आई कैन contribute to the functioning of the government in every possible way, okay, and my development, equal opportunities given to me, and I have when it comes to my development, my country's democracy and government is playing a vital role. Okay, so the constitution has given us all these important points, or they are mentioned in the constitution for the sake of good governance. Okay, we come to the end of this chapter, children. Now there are two things that I would like to point out. Okay, one is that many children have not taken the assignment marks seriously. As I told you before, chapter 4 is deleted from the portion now. Chapter 4 and chapter 6. And chapter 5 we have already completed in history. So a part of the notes is still remaining. I will be forwarding it to you in PDF form today. I'll try and forward the notes for this first chapter, political science, also today. And copy them down in the, use your workbook which is given to you, children, so that you can complete that workbook. And the Google Forms for chapter 4 which you had submitted, marks of the Google form will not be included now because that chapter is deleted by the department. Instead of that, the audio clip that you sent to me related to chapter 1 political science, those marks will be considered. All those children who do not submit the audio clip by Tuesday will not get any marks for that assignment. So let me make it very clear that all those who have not sent it will send it. Okay. Next time we will take up the first chapter in history and write down all the notes which have been given, which we have completed in history. Okay. And try to maintain your notes. Put down the date when I have passed down the notes to you and write it down accordingly. Have a good day, children. Take your studies seriously. Now that we have completed mass media lesson and one lesson in political science, okay, chapter 4 is deleted. Don't cancel, don't try to tear the pages from the notebook where you have written the notes for chapter 4. Let it be as it is. Just you can put a cross with a pencil mark, or and write there deleted or omitted, and keep continuing with the notes. Chapter 5 notes you will revise thoroughly well, and I will be soon sending a Google form related to the first chapter of political science. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.